Welcome to our webinar on the best strategies for recruitment and retention for your clinical trials. Recruitment of patients is the single limiting factor in a clinical trial. Along with that, sites often forget how important patient retention can be. No study can start without recruitment, and no study can end without retaining patients and ensuring that they stay in the study until completion. It's always important to have a clear understanding of your patient demographics, your resources, sponsor expectations, and the final outcome of a research study. Know what studies you can be successful on and know the limits of your research site. Having an understanding of your audience is important in any business. You should know your patients. Try to find out the specific characteristics of your ideal study participant, knowing why they are joining the trial and what would limit them from being able to stay in the study. Also understand if there are family members or caregivers that accompany the patient, as that must also be taken into account. Always know the resources that are available to your research site. In starting with your internal database, look for the most qualified patients and those that have the best contact information. There are ways of recruiting patients that cost next to nothing, including getting doctor referrals and having some form of community outreach, such as attending health fairs to try and reach patients near you. Knowing what is expected of you will help you be successful in any task. Knowing what the sponsor wants from you is valuable information that you should always focus on when designing a plan of action. Having a written plan will also help you set concrete goals and have something to work towards instead of keeping track of everything in your head. These are questions you should always keep in mind when reviewing your methods of recruitment. Finding out what worked and what didn't work, as well as knowing the specific problems you faced, will provide you with a framework on how to tackle your next campaign. Keep track of updated metrics and compare them to one another to be able to make the best decision on your next round of studies. Patient recruitment should be seen as one of the problems you should always be looking to overcome. Recruiting patients is the main goal of your trial. There are many different factors that need to be taken into consideration. Put yourself in a patient's shoes. They have a chronic condition. They may not be fully aware of what is going on in their bodies. Then someone talks about a clinical trial. It may be the first time that they hear about this type of study. You and I hear and talk about clinical trials all day long. Maybe the only thing you think about. You must always be understanding that there are misunderstandings and strong lack of awareness surrounding clinical trials. You should always be mindful of patients who are still not 100% sure that they want to be in a trial, even when they have already consented. The general sentiment towards clinical trials is fear of being a guinea pig, being experimented on and ultimately ending up being hurt or tortured at the hands of a pharmaceutical company. Be understanding of patients who have this sentiment. Don't take it personal. Guide them through this process and take into account their emotions and the reasons for their hesitations. Along with this, there are also personal issues that patients are going through. Be sure to talk with patients and offer solutions to their problems. The best advertising campaigns have a few things in common. The first is that they are targeted. For example, your key demographic may be older male populations. Focus your efforts in that population and keep track of what works and what doesn't. It is also important to send a clear message in your ads. You should be sending the right message to the right demographic in order to receive the best response. You must react quickly to patient referrals. There's a small time frame where patients are excited and ready to join your clinical trial. That can quickly fade, so reach out to patients as soon as you can. Be sure to advertise to the correct media outlets. A combination of different media strategies are what will be best for your study. After the dust settles, take a look back and take note of what worked best for your particular study. Patient retention is just as important as recruitment. Don't make the mistake in thinking that just because someone signed up for your study, that they will stay in the study until it's completed. Never forget that these patients have personal lives that are just as fickle as anyone else's. If you notice signs that a patient is going to stop showing up, try and figure out what is happening. It may just take a simple conversation with a patient to be able to help them to decide to stay in the study. These are the most common issues that will cause patients to drop out of a study. They can range from discomfort due to a medication or dropping out due to other patients no longer wanting to be part of a study. Ways to keep patients in your study can be simple, but are often overlooked. The easiest way to know if patients are unsatisfied is to ask. Communicate with patients constantly and make them feel like your research site is a safe and comfortable place. Don't forget that you are always projecting your attitudes to patients. You should have a positive attitude and be someone that patients are happy to see. The most important tip we will share with you is to know the protocol. Be able to answer any questions that the patient has. They see you as the medical professional that you are, and being prepared to answer any questions will help you establish trust with your patients. Using a clinical trial management software allows you to manage and maintain all relevant data on your recruitment efforts. This may be something you should look into for your research site. We have a checklist of the most important points we covered. Having a plan and being able to anticipate problems with recruitment will help you be prepared for any obstacles in your way. If you don't already, keep an organized set of data of your recruitment efforts to see what worked best for you, and this will allow you to be successful in the future. Remember that patient retention is just as important as patient recruitment, and be willing to put in just as much effort in both of these tasks to ensure that you are fulfilling your enrollment goals. Learning how to properly conduct the recruitment and retention processes will help you achieve a better trial result and increase your chances of attracting new clinical studies. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed our presentation.